Okay, so let's start. I'm Patryk Bobak from Software Professional Services team. And today we are going to take a look at KODO solution, especially at our new features, support for Office 365 and for BOX service. Agenda for today's session will consist of two segments: KODO overview, offspring, new release, what's new, a little bit about support for Office 365 and BOX, and the second segment, live demo, where I show you the KODO solution in action. I will give you a walkthrough of the KODO administrative and backup restore abilities, and this should give you idea how you can apply KODO in your organization or in your infrastructure. So, okay, let's start with some KODO overview. KODO is based on IBM TSM Spectrum Protect engine, and KODO is designed around the philosophy of data protection and secure data collaboration. We build a trusted environment for a sensitive and enterprise critical data by setting up the rhythm of organization data flow. This is the KODO data flow. Data rhythm is the essence of the KODO software. And KODO is a next generation of enterprise platform that provides the collaboration and protection for workstation and mobile devices, such as laptops, tablets, or smartphones. It ensures not only continued data protection of key corporate data, but also compression, deduplication, and of course file versioning. For mobile platforms, we are supporting Android, iOS, and still Windows Phone. And for desktop platforms, we are supporting Windows and Mac OS. And I think it's worth mentioning that for desktop platforms, we are offering continuous data protection backup. It's a very, very nice, unique feature that every time the file that is protecting change, it's automatically sent to a KODO backup server. So it doesn't matter if this feature works even if the user is in the offline mode. The files are stored locally, and when the user is connected to a network, the changes that he made to our files are synchronized with KODO server. This gives a great continuous data protection. And KODO is also empowering your workplace, giving your organization abilities like, for example, file sharing. Sharing that provides the flexibility and collaboration process that users need. File sync and sharing allows users to access data from multiple devices, as well to create content with others. So the team or few persons can collaborate together on one document or set of files. And generally, KODO share data between user organization, but it's also possible to share data with users outside the KODO organization using, for example, secure links. And let's not forget about other features like data migration between devices and operating systems, or corporate address book, and integration with Samsung DeX. And by the way, we are supporting continuous data protection also on DeX on DEX platform. So if you have a Samsung device that is connected with a DEX, and you are working on some documents, you are working on some files. When the file is changed, it's working exactly like on workstation. The file is automatically sent to KODO server when the change on the file occur. And we want KODO to be simple. We want KODO to be your best friend. We want to give you a system that is easily deployed and easy to use. That's why KODO simplifies the implementation, user and data management, as well as processes such as crucial data restoration or fleet migration. Like you can, for example, we are using the Android devices, and now we are changing to iOS devices, or the other way. With KODO, you can very simple and very easily migrate the data between the operating systems. And the security, very important aspect. We know that today's world is a place full of threats, but the good news is that we have tools and knowledge to deliver secure solution for you. Data encryption at server side and addressed, safe encrypted transfer using TLS, device geolocation, of course, mobile device geolocation. For Android, we are supporting also wipeouting the lost device, audit logs that will tell you what happened in the system, what user was doing, what user were backing up, restoring, and what administrator or operator was looking at the server, and integration with MDM system called FAMOC or with KODO ENM, and of course integration with Nox. That all features are awaiting for you, are ready to use. So a few words about Nox, and KODO. KODO enchants Nox by delivering safe folders and files backup. Data and transfer are encrypted, and this allows you to backup and also share your data among co-workers in a very safe way. KODO is a powerful tool for Samsung products that allows to restore important data if the device is broken or stolen. And KODO completes the Samsung Nox solution, enabling access to copy of the data in the case of user demand. And of course, the data that were backed up in the Samsung Nox container are available only if you install the KODO client inside Nox container. So if the data are in Nox, if the data are backed up in the Nox, they also need to be restored in the Nox. So this is the short overview about the KODO, about the features that were available now. But let's take a look what's new in the new release KODO Offspring 3.12. So new, easily scalable architecture. We brought major changes in the server application to allow build extensible architecture ready for onboarding any cloud provider out there. If you are a cloud provider, if you want to sell KODO for your clients, for your users, that's great. We can build the new architecture is very scalable, so it's very easy to build a very small environment for the beginning and later scale it up. Just putting another agents, another KODO servers to create a bigger cluster. And we are supporting also in the previous version, we were using MySQL database. From this release, we are also supporting MariaDB, and Web Admin Panel can be now separated from the server instance. So you're able to install it, deploy it on the same or for example, different hosts. And of course, we fixed some bugs. We improved some security. If you want to know a little bit more, contact with us. We'll send you the full change log, what has been done in the new release. So in the new KODO, we can back up almost everything. So at this moment, we have our Office 365, we have our Box, and we have backup for workstation, laptops with Windows and macOS operating system, and of course mobile devices with Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. And also KODO can work in two models: on-premise or in cloud. On-premise installation provides a private cloud approach. In on-premise model, KODO server can be installed as a virtual machine, or it can be installed on a Cisco server. It just needs a public IP for connectivity to our mobile devices or devices that are outside the organization. And I would like you to show our mascot. It's a backup monster. For now, our backup monster can eat data from Office 365 and Box Cloud, but the new data sources will be available soon. And if we're talking about new features about backup and restore, now you can backup and protect your Exchange mailboxes, your contacts, your OneDrive files. So every Word, Excel, PowerPoint presentation that you created in your Office 365, and if these files are stored in the OneDrive, they will be protected and versioned. And of course, we are supporting backup of the Box service. You can restore. You can backup files on demand using manual approach, but you can also create a schedule to do backup automatically. And we are supporting local restore, so you can download mails, calendars, or OneDrive files directly to your workstation, or you can restore them directly to cloud. So let's see how it looks in a live action demo. So let's jump to our KODO administrative panel. I will log in. The first thing we see is a dashboard, general system information about activity, about our devices, users, and data that are stored on the KODO server. So here we see that we have a lot not protected devices, but don't worry, it's our demo organization. And we have 3 fully protected devices. I can very easily see which devices are not protected. I just need simple click on the icon, and here we will have list of the devices that is filtered using unprotected filter. So here is the list. We can see the last backup date, and if we know that something is wrong with this device, from the action menu, we can easily see the logs. Oh, this one is empty, but we can easily see logs from the device if the logs are available. Well, maybe I think should find some of my device. Oh, it's also don't have any logs. Most of these devices are offline now, so that's why the last backup date is old, and that's why these devices are not protected. So what's more, let's click on the fully protected device. Let's remove the filter. Yeah, we have a free fully protected devices, and these devices are protected according to a policy. And the policy is it's a definition for how the device should behave and which data should be protected from the devices. So let's jump to our policy section, and like you see, we have many policies here, and later we are assigning a policy to user or to a group of user. In every policy, I will click on my policy. We have configuration for every operating system that is supported by KODO, and in the service tab, we have a configuration for services that are supported by KODO. At this moment, we have a configuration for Office 365 and for BOX service. So here we can configure which items should be backed up and which items should be excluded from backup. So we can exclude some mailboxes. We can exclude, for example, some files based on paths or extension from our OneDrive, and very similar for our box. We can include or exclude some paths, or we can exclude data based on file extensions. In the general section, we have some general settings for our policy, so we can set up the policy as a default. So if the new user will be registered on the server, or new user will be synchronized with, for example, Active Directory, if the policy is set as default, this will be the policy that will be used for the new user. We can also, if we have users that are a little bit more advanced, we can give them rights to modify policy. But don't worry, the user will be not able to modify what is saved on the server, what is configured on the server, but he will be able to modify the policy locally on his device. So, for example, if the administrator will configure that all files that are stored on the desktop should be protected, the user will be not able to change it. He will be not able to change this configuration, but he will be able to add some new folders, for example, from My Documents or some other paths, and these paths will be protected by KODO, but only on his single device. We can check some privacy settings, so we can disallow administrator to restore user files. It's also possible to disallow administrator to see metadata about the backup, so the administrator will be not able to see which files exactly are protected on user device. If we have a local user is created using using the portal. We can set up some password settings, so we can require minimal password length or some requirement for lower cases, upper cases, and special characters. We have some mobile settings, so we can allow backup only over a Wi-Fi. We can track our mobile devices, and here we can also set our retention for our mobile backup. MyKODO, it's a feature that will allow syncing files. It's a special folder in the operating system, and if the user will copy or will put some files there, it will be automatically synchronized with KODO server and will be available on all user devices. Also, if the file is stored in the MyKODO, the file can be shared. The file or the folder can be shared with other users. Of course, if we don't want to give the ability to share files, we can just let me go to the edit mode. It will be a little bit easier to click. We can in every moment disallow sharing files, disallow sharing folders between KODO users, or disallow sharing files via link with the users outside the organization. And if we need only a backup solution and we don't want to give MyKODO, we don't want to give sync service to user, we can just disable it, and this feature will be not available on the client. And risk notification settings, so very simple setting that will tell us how many days need to pass, which are communication from the device side to change the status from protected to unprotected. So if the desktop device or mobile device will not contact with server 3 days, the status will be changed from protected to unprotected. And of course, we like security, so as administrator, you can give your user right to encrypt their own data using own encryption key. So the user will need a password. This password will be used to create a key, and this key will be used to encrypt data. But of course, we need to remember that if the user will forget the password, will be not able to restore the data. We have some email settings, so you can configure protection of email clients, archives. It's a simple scheduled backup, so you're choosing the backup time, you're choosing when this backup should occur, and KODO will automatically backup selected email client. At this moment, we are supporting Microsoft Outlook and IBM Notes. Windows and OS X, Mac OS, configuration for continuous data protection. These two tabs are very similar. The biggest difference is paths between paths to files and to folders. And the most important thing is here that we have an include backup setting and exclude backup settings. So here we are providing the paths and extensions that should be protected on client operating system. So, for example, here we are telling KODO that he should protect all TXT files that are stored on desktop folder on user desktops. Also, from desktop, we are protecting images, zip files, and Office files, and from documents folder, we are protecting all extensions. Adding new paths and new extension is really very easy. Just click Add Include Directory button, provide the path or choose template. For example, let's say we want to protect data from all local disks, and we also want to include all subdirectories, and from all local disks we want to protect, well, maybe all files. It's not a good idea because in the operating system there is a lot of changes, but we can provide extension manually, or, for example, like this, or we can choose ready to use template. And let's say that Office documents are very important to us, and we want to store them in retention KODO 5v, so that will mean that every file will be protected in 5 version. And of course, exclude backup settings, very easy way to tell which file, which extension should never be backed up. So for example, here we have information that all the AV file from all local disks, all folders and subfolders should be omitted during the backup, should be excluded. And if, for example, and very important things to remember is that the exclude is stronger than an include. So here we have a definition that all files should be protected from documents folder. This exclude will be much stronger. So if somebody will put a AVA file in the My Documents folder, it will be not protected. It will be omitted. Very similar on OS X, Mac OS. Like I said, the only difference is in the paths. Android, iOS, and Windows Phone, very simple configuration. We can choose which items, which elements from the operating system should be protected, should be backed up. On the Android device, we can choose contacts, calendars, galleries, files that are stored in the internal memory, and also files from the SD card. Exclude backup settings, we can exclude some files based on file extension or file path, and also we can exclude large files. iOS also very similar to Android, but on iOS we don't have the access to a file system, so we can back up contacts, calendars, galleries, pictures, movies, and we can exclude some large files. And like I said, we don't have access to a file system, but these settings will tell KODO that pictures and movies that are files that are protected can be greater than 25, for example, 25 megabytes. And Windows Phone, that is not supported anymore by Microsoft, but we still have a working client for it. From Windows Phone, we can back up contacts, galleries, files from SD card, and of course, we have exclude backup settings for files based on extension and based on size. And the thing that I showed at the beginning, configuration for services at this moment, Office 365 and BOX. But today we want to talk about Office, about BOX. So let's show how to configure these two services, how to use it, how to do backup, and how to restore data. So in the new version, we have a new menu item that is called Services. And if you have agent installed on the KODO server or some other host, and this agent is connected with the main server, you will see a new available services. And these services, of course, at the beginning need some configuration. Let's check out the Office 365 settings and configuration. Clicking on the gear icon, we can see service details. We can see the version of the agent that is installed on the KODO, and we see the list of the features that are supported by this version of the agent. So at this moment, we have a Exchange Calendar backup, OneDrive backup, Exchange Mailbox restore, OneDrive restore, Exchange Mailbox backup, and Exchange Calendar restore. In the configuration tab, we have a configuration of Office 365 organization. So you can have many configured organizations. So, for example, in the one KODO organization, you can add many Office 365 organization and download, backup the data from them. Adding new configuration is very easy. We are providing a special PowerShell script that you just need to run. This script will ask you for your login and for your password. You need to provide login and password for Office Organization Administrator. And this script will install a special application in your organization. And this application that is installed inside the Microsoft Cloud will help KODO to back up and restore your data. Also, the script will generate data that you will need to provide here. It will be a tenant ID, and it will be client ID, it will be certificate password, and special client secret. These all data are needed to connect to Office organization. And also from here, you can create schedules, and schedules will protect will automatically protect your data with interval you configured. Adding schedule is also very easy. Just give it a name, configure execution interval. For example, let's give it a 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes, the feature we select will be run. So for example, let's say that every 15 minutes I want to backup of calendars, mailboxes, not restore, OneDrive backup, calendar backup, and mailbox backup. Let's click save. New schedule has been defined, and next execution will be in few minutes. Let's see the box configuration. It looks very similar. Here we have information about a version, and here we have a list of features that this service offering. It's of course backup. It's container for files. So here we have a box backup and box restore. Configuration is also very similar to configuration of the Office service. So we are providing you instruction. You need to log into your box account, create an application, and provide data that will be generated by the box service here. And this will also allow us to connect to your box organization and backup and restore data from there. Creating a schedule looks exactly the same like in the Office. You're choosing the name, choosing the execution interval, you select features, click save, and every 10 minutes the backup, the scheduler will be started, and the backup will be done. So let's jump to our users to find some users that are connected with Office 365 or Box organization, and let's see how we can restore data, how we can backup data on demand. Let's use filter to find our users. Let's choose a service filter, and let's start with Office 365. So we have a few users that are using the cloud service backup. Let's choose my user, and let's, in the detailed information, we have a service tab, and in the service tab, we see that this user is active for Office 365 backup. So if the user is active, like here, every scheduler that is created in the system will be connected with this user. If, for example, we want to stop backup operations for this user, very easy. Just change the status of the service for this one separated user, and the backup for him will be not started. He will be excluded from the schedule. But we want to backup him. If we want to start backup manually, from here we can choose the action. We can start Exchange mailbox backup. We can start OneDrive backup or Exchange calendar backup. And if we want to browse what has been backed up and we want or do some restore action, just click on the browse button. Sorry, we need to refresh it. And here we see all the items that are protected for this user. So we have a calendars, we have a mailbox, and we have a OneDrive. Let's take a look at the calendars. We have a free calendars here. We can select the one we want to restore, and we can choose action, restore download. This will allow to download the file locally on administrator workstation. Yeah, I'm sure I want to gain access to user backup. So the file, this calendars will be restored, prepared to compress it to zip file, and are ready to download. I can also restore the data directly to cloud, let's say to original location. Very similar for mailboxes or OneDrive. Just click on the mailbox, choose the correct icon. I am pretty sure that I have something in the inbox. So let's go here. We can restore the data locally to our workstation. Or we can restore data directly to cloud, let's say also to original location, and exactly the same with a OneDrive. Very simple, very easy. We have a file of we have the list of the file. We can browse there. This folder is empty, but we can choose files and restore them locally to my workstation, or restore them directly to cloud. So if we restore them to cloud and the user computer, user device will be synchronized, he will be able to see files again where they deleted or for example lost. But we click at some action. We have done. We click at. We choose some files. We click at restore to cloud. We choose restore. Yeah, we have information that selected files has been scheduled for restore. But well, we are not sure if everything is working fine. If we are not sure if the data are restored. So if we want to check it, we need to go to our services, and here we have a tab that is called Services Task. And here we see all the tasks that were created and all the tasks that are running or are queued for execution. Yeah, so like you see, we have an action for Exchange Mailbox Restore that is running right now, and we have an action for OneDrive Restore. Let's try to refresh the list. Yeah, like you see, Exchange Mailbox is completed. 0 emails have been restored. Why 0 emails have been restored? Because I selected the emails that already exist in my Office 365 mailbox. So we didn't have to restore the files because they were already there. Let's refresh it again, yeah, and OneDrive restore task changed status to running. Progress at this moment is 0, but in a few seconds, yes, it's also completed, and also 0 files has been restored because all the files, all the original files still exist on my local account. And also, it's very similar for a box. Let's find some user with a box configuration. For example, we have our colleague Mariusz here. We jump into our services. We see that he is using a box, and the box is enabled for him. And like in Office, we can start the backup on demand, just clicking Start Now and choosing Box Backup. And we can browse his data and restore them. Box backup, let's choose some maybe large folder. Files are not too large, but still we can restore them locally or restore them directly to cloud. Let's click Save. Now the file is a little bit smaller than what is written here. Mariusz, we need to change it. Okay, so let's close these windows. Yeah, so like you see, KODO is a very simple but powerful solution to protect mobile devices, to protect desktop devices, and now also to protect data that are stored in the Office 365 or in the box services. If you have KODO server ready to use, just configure the connection to your Office organization or to your box organization, and you are ready to go. You can synchronize users between KODO and between Office or box. So, for example, if the user list is empty and you have a configured Office 365 configuration, here we have a special button for you, like import missing users and synchronize users. And import missing users will connect to your Office 365 organization and will download user definitions from there. So you can very easily create a whole bunch of users in KODO if you already have them configured in your Office or in your box organization. So let's click Synchronize. Let's jump to Services. Let's jump to our Services tasks. Let's refresh the list. And like you see, the new task is created. It's waiting for an execution by the agent. Let's give it a few seconds. In a few seconds, we should see that this task connected to Office organization, checked the list of the KODO users, checked the list of the Office user, And if some users are missing on the KODO side, the definition will be downloaded and uploaded to KODO. Missing users 0, but let's do some tests. Let's remove my user. Let's give it a few seconds. You need to remember that deleting user is operation that will also delete all user data. So now let's jump to Office configuration. Let's jump to user import. Let's create a new task for server. Let's go to task. Yeah, okay, we have a task that is waiting for execution by KODO agent. Let's give it a few seconds to refresh the status. It's completed. One user was synchronized. Okay, we have a Patryk Bobak, but this user still don't have access to a service because he was only imported. Now we need to synchronize users, and synchronization has been requested. Let's jump to our services task once again. We have a new task that is waiting for a completion. Let's give it a few seconds. And in a few seconds, we should see that this task is completed and my new imported user is ready to use backup of, in this case, Office 365. Okay, task is running, task is complete. And this is this message. This is what we expected. Once synchronized users. Yeah, I see the blue cloud. I know that this user is now using a cloud service backup, and Office 365 is ready and available to use. So I can, for example, start a OneDrive backup on demand. Go to a service task. We have a new task that needs to be executed. And in a few seconds, it will be this task will be started, and we will see the progress of the OneDrive files backup. Okay, 7%. I don't have too much files on my OneDrive, so this action should be pretty quick. 69 and 113 files backed up. Let's see if it is true. Let's browse. Here it is. If some of the files will be missing, or I will lose the access to my OneDrive account, I still have a backup, and I can restore everything I need to cloud. Or if I don't have cloud anymore, if I don't have account in Office anymore, I can restore them locally and use it like before. It's a few files, so let's give it a few seconds. It's ready. It has been compressed and ready to restore and use. Let's give it a nice name. Restore OneDrive. Let's click Save. And let's see if we really have all files here. We need to do some trick. We need to minimize this window, and like you see, here are all files that were stored on my OneDrive account. So, okay, just to do some summary, KODO very powerful and but simple platform to protect mobile devices, to protect laptops, to protect workstations, and also now to protect Box 300, Office 365 and BOX services. Easy to configure, easy to restore, just use it. And this is the end of the live action demo, but remember to follow the Backup Monster. Backup Monster is our mascot. You can find him on LinkedIn, you can find him on Twitter, and you can also find us on Facebook. I think that there is a lot of news. There is a lot of new features. A lot of things is happening. So remember to check Backup Monster hashtag from time to time. And if you need to contact with us, you can contact with us using the info@storware.eu email address. We have also an office in the Czech Republic, and we're waiting for your request for demo, for POC, or for new license. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, just write them on the chat or use your microphone. You should be able to speak. And from my side, that's all. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. Okay, I see that we don't have any questions, so have a great day and good luck.